initiated by me last week when I spoke about the police killings when I was traveling last week from Montego Bay to Jamaica and sitting down at a place called Fish Hut and, caught up with some information in reference to that, the police killings. And I thought that was pretty high for the police killings in the month of October. And spoke with Deputy Superintendent Steve Brown. And of course, he gave his viewpoint and opinion on that. However, today I happen to be honored and be very lucky and to have Dr. Carolyn Gomes. And ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Carolyn Gomes is an individual that heads up the Jamaicans for Justice, which is a non-profit, non-partisan, non-violent volunteer citizens' rights action group. Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, was founded in 1999 in Kingston, Jamaica. The group was co-founded by Jamaican human rights activist Dr. Carolyn Gomes, who in 2008 was awarded the UN Prize in the field of human rights. Dr. Gomes, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, Squeeze, and hello to your listeners.
Thank you so much. I know you were in a meeting earlier, and you took some time out of that to actually speak with myself as a broadcaster here in the diaspora. First things first, I'm going to get straight to the point. I pretty much briefed you as to what it is that I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. And, there are two things I want to touch on. One, I want to touch on the article that's in the newspaper. JFJ calls for police commissioner's resignation. And if you don't mind, quickly, I'll just read some excerpts from this. It says here, ladies and gentlemen, Kingston, Jamaica, Jamaicans for Justice is calling for the resignation of Police Commissioner Owen Ellington. Commissioner Ellington has failed to keep the murder rate under control. He has failed to improve the police clear-up rate for murder. He has presided over the highest cumulative rate of police fatal shootings ever seen in Jamaica, the JFJ said in a release Friday morning. It is time for him to go. Citing several fatal shootings which the JFJ said occur in circumstances which suggest extrajudicial killings by police, the human rights group said the rate of fatal shootings for 2013 is above last year, adding that they have seen 3 months in which more than one person a day was killed by police. This, they said, culminated in the killing of 36 persons by the police in the month of October. The JFJ has asserted that Commissioner Ellington's failure to control the brutality of the men under his command and the failure to reduce the rate of fatal police shootings by proper planning and control of operation are unacceptable. The group also said that they have not heard any solutions for this unacceptable use of force by police officers coming out of the police commissioner's weekly bulletins to his men, and added that his failure to ensure accountability for the use of force by members of the JCF by itself warrants the resignation of the police commissioner. Additionally, the JFJ said that Commissioner Ellington, has failed to bring about a sustained reduction in the murder rate, which the organization said, and now the analysts have predicted has begun an increase after the reductions that followed the extradition of Christopher Dudus Coke, because no strategic improvements in crime prevention or community-based policing have taken place under his leadership over the past 3 years. And I could go on and on and on. You get the gist. But before you respond to that, Dr. Gomes, I'll also let you hear an excerpt from Deputy Superintendent Steve Brown, of which, and I will disclaim this, folks, a lot of folks have said that, Squeeze, you are glorifying the criminals by saying this. And I said, no. We're trying to figure out exactly what's truly going on. We're trying to have a balance as to information here in the diaspora. We don't believe in crime in Jamaica, but there needs to be a balance as to what's going on. We need to have a full understanding of it. Let me just play a quick synopsis of what took place with the interview with myself and Deputy Superintendent Steve Brown, Dr. Gomes. 1 second. Here we go. Once again, folks, if you're just joining us, I'm speaking with, of course, Deputy Superintendent, of course, Steve Brown, right here on Link Up Radio 93.5. We're talking about the killings on both sides in Jamaica, from the side of the police and from the side of the criminals. The deputy has stated, of course, these individuals who are being killed, okay, if they surrender, they will come in alive. But if they don't and they start a barrage of shooting, as we stated last week, and I said, by all means, if a criminal decides, someone decides to fire back at the police, then in my opinion, and this is rash, deal with the case, all right? And the police have to do what they have to do. However, my concern is just the major increase, or the big increase rather, in the month of October for the amount of police killings. But what I'd like to ask you,
Well, I
Deputy,
can explain
yeah,
to you that in
can,
October, though.
yeah, the October thing, I'd love to have that explained. Is there a campaign that's going on, that's going after the criminals, that's going after the guns? That I could understand if that's going on.
Okay, squeeze.
Yeah.
Okay, squeeze. What happened in October is that we realized there was a spike in murder between August, late July, coming on to August into September that time.
Uh-huh.
And the criminal elements were after each other and creating, wreaking, not necessarily wreaking havoc, but they were doing things that, would cause a concern.
Mm-hmm.
So we launched an operation that's called Operation Resilience.
Okay.
And from there on, Operation Resilience, and from there on, we decided that we're going to take on the criminals head on. We're going to confront the criminals. We're going to find them where they are. We're going to confront them. Understand? It's against that background, I think, that was because the operations increased, and I said to you, that month alone, through Operation Resilience, we're able to recover close to 90 guns from the streets.
Now, that answers
some
the
people
question.
lost their lives when they challenged the police.
Okay. Now that. All right, so let's stop right there. Dr. Gomes, your response in respect to both the paper and what Deputy Superintendent Steve Brown has said.
I'm so sad, Squeeze, quite frankly, because we continue to do the same things over and over and over again and expect different results. And that really is an indictment on us, because that is madness. We have, if resilience is the cause, then what was the cause in June when there were 33 persons killed? What was the cause in January when more than 30 persons were killed? What was the cause in March 2012 when more than 30 persons were killed in the month? It's nonsense. And we keep trying to murder. And Martin Luther King Jr. told us quite clearly, you cannot murder. Darkness cannot put out darkness. Only light can chase the darkness. Mm-hmm. We have been practicing brutal policing for 40 years. And every year the murder rate climbs upwards, and we try and kill out more people, and the murder rate climb up. And we must learn from our history and our mistakes. The slave master was never able to beat us into submission, and a police force cannot use brutality to solve crime. And that is what they're trying to do. And I am so sad about it. Because when they beat a young boy to death, Ashani Clark, and the only thing he did, they didn't even claim he had a gun, He just rode a motorcycle past a checkpoint. He and another fella on the bike. And they chased him down and beat him to death. Kicked him, beat him, leave him dead on the side of the road like carry on. And leave the next fella for dead same way. And then claim that they are confronting crime? How? When they fire a gun at a man they're chasing and shoot a schoolgirl in her hand. How is that effective policing? I am so sad about it. I'm so caught up that we keep trying to brutalize Jamaicans into submission.
How do you respond to a lot of folks who will say, because here we have even taken calls on air, and of course there's a balance of calls. People are saying, fine, Squeeze, you're addressing the situation to try to find more about the police killings. Some will call in and say, but Squeeze, the police are doing the right thing by killing off these criminals. What's your response into that? Because some of them are saying they are true criminals, they're real criminals. What's your response to that, Dr. Gomes?
Of course they're real criminals, but how you expect to find them if you go around shooting indiscriminately?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you terrorize a whole community, it's like dynamite in a reef. The destruction you cause is beyond any fish you're going to gather, Right? And years ago, Squeeze, when we were first getting into this work, somebody said to me, no, if it was working, I might be able to support it. But it's not working. All this shooting and killing is not working to bring crime under control. The murder rate is going up again. The tactics have failed. The approach has failed. We need approaches and tactics that are likely to work.
The call on Commissioner Ellington's resignation. What do you have to say about that? And do you think that there's someone out there could actually replace him, or do you think we need external forces or resources to come in?
I don't know everybody in the police force, but I do know that I believe wholeheartedly in Jamaica and Jamaicans. And I believe also in this diaspora and the skill sets that have been acquired in the diaspora. Just the other day I met the Deputy Commissioner of Police in Los Angeles, who's Jamaican, right? And I'm in contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have believed that there are people around who can do a competent job, who can do a good job, an effective job, that can devise and implement effective strategies that can actually carry through change, and we cannot be saying that we can't change. Everything can change. The only constant in life is change. And what we need change to do is provide us with an effective police service, not a brutal police force that cannot clear up crime above 30%, that cannot bring the murder rate under control. It's time. After 40 years, it's time to say to yourself, what I'm doing is not working. Let me try something different.
Absolutely. Once again, folks, if you're just joining us, I am speaking with the head of the Jamaicans for Justice organization, and I'm speaking with Dr. Carolyn Gomes. It's a pleasure speaking with her on air here. And I'm quite sure some of you may have questions or comments or suggestions for Dr. Gomes, and we, as usual, welcome them. I will allow you to actually give a ring if you'd like. The number here is 877-320-5465, 877-320-5465. Remember to keep it real, 877-320-5465. Now, Dr. Gomes, this crime increase, why do you think it is? Barring the police, why do you think there's an increase in crime, especially in specific communities in Jamaica right now? Oh, it's going back.
There's actually, Squeeze, we are getting reports that suggest there's an increase in crime right around all communities. Some of them not even recorded. We are seeing, just in my own little street, in the last 3 months, there have been 4 robberies. People coming in on people, following them from the grocery, etc. So we are seeing an increase in crime generally, but the increase in murder, the specific one that concerns all of us, was predicted. It was predicted from as far back as 2010, right after the extradition. Large group of us in the Jamaica Civil Society Coalition got together, looked at what was happening, brought expertise to the table, and said we need an effective, joined-up strategy. We have now brought some semblance of people feeling no longer that gunmen had impunity, right? That they could get away with anything. If the big man could go down, so could everybody. That needed to be followed up with a properly structured and properly resourced set of interventions in the community in which the police had a role to play, but not the lead. But we didn't. We didn't do that. What we did was sent the police in to tell people to get off the street and not to play dominoes and to go in your yard at 6 o'clock and to turn themselves into the new community dons. And we didn't put in place the proper social interventions, the proper alternatives to crime. And that would have allowed us to actually get a handle, to build on the respite that the extradition of Coke brought to those communities. But we didn't do it. We didn't do it. And we told them that if they didn't do it, you're going to get the increase that we're now seeing, because it's not possible. It's like the hydra of myth and legend. You cut off one head, you get back 8, right? Unless you put in place the structure to prevent the regrowth, and we didn't.
Okay. And one of these days, remind me that we both have to speak about how these guns are continuously getting into our country, Jamaica. But
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So there's a role to speak about the gun laws in America and about all of that corruption and stuff that fuels it. But
Right.
we have also our responsibility here.
True.
And it's not that we don't have examples in a squeeze, because we've had these little pockets where it has tried and tried to take a different approach, and it has actually worked. Worked effectively. A zero murder rate in Augustown for 18 months.
Well, wow. That's
But,
impressive.
yes, but that was years ago, and that was built on the back of proper community-based policing.
All right, let's take a couple of calls quickly. Once again, folks, we're going to ask you to keep them short and to the point, and then Dr. Gomes will respond. Hello, caller. How are you?
Yes, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. And if Dr. Gomes can't hear you, I'll just repeat what you said. Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to know, do you think it would be sufficient enough to have help from a government out of Jamaica to put some pressure on making sure that the cops are doing what they're supposed to do as far as laws and crimes? Or is it something that you feel that just the Jamaican island have to figure out?
Did you get that, Dr. Gomes?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. But basically, what he's asking, do you think that Jamaica needs to get help outside of Jamaica from another government, or do you think it should just be Jamaica dealing with their own situation?
I don't close off any avenue. We have a situation here that needs help, and we are, and in some senses, stymied in terms of our lack of resources to be able to effectively implement. But we sometimes need to think outside the box, and we need to put in place the solutions that we have devised. So the strategic review of the Jamaica Constabulary Force that was done in 2007 and started implementing in 2008, that was Jamaican-led with input technical expertise from overseas. And it produced a wonderful report that had we implemented it, we might be much further along the road. And it called for the creation of a Jamaica Police Service. It called for a complete culture shift. It called for even remaking the uniforms and the service emblems, for producing a more dynamic force. So absolutely there's room for overseas support. But I actually also believe that Jamaicans are quite capable of doing things, but they have to believe that they're going to want to do them, and then they put their heads to them. I mean, as I said, some of the most dynamic people I've met overseas, the Jamaican diaspora, amazing people. They have so much to contribute to any change, and a lot of understanding that maybe our locals don't have. But I've been so disappointed in the governmental response in terms of not implementing these solutions, putting them on a shelf, and allowing commissioners or the police force themselves to hijack the process of change.
Got you. Let's take another call. Once again, folks, if you're just joining us, it is Link Up Radio 93.5 WVIP with yours truly, David Squeeze Anarchy. And, of course, speaking with Dr. Carolyn Gomes, of course, head of the Jamaicans for Justice organization. Let's get to another call quickly before we wrap it up, and let's go to this line right here. Hello, caller. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Aniki.
Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to, of course, A Word with Squeeze and Mona.
Yes, sir. This is the ex-member of the JDF that texted the other day.
Okay, welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. As a former member of the JDF, I had the opportunity to work on the streets in Kingston, as well as work in the prison. And I've confronted gunmen in streets and sit down and talk to them in the prison, one-to-one. And tell you the truth, they call the prison rehabilitation center. And I don't see where of effective rehabilitation program going on.
So the moral of what you're saying is that the prison is not rehabilitating rather the prisoners. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, what are you saying? What are you trying to say to Dr. Gomes or myself? The rehab program is not good enough because the prisoners are coming back out as hardened criminals. Is that what you're saying? Even harder.
Yeah, it's not effective.
It's not effective. All right.
I think they should do more than what they're doing.
All right, not a problem. And what's your take on Dr. Gomes calling for the... Go on. Go on, Dr. Gomes.
No, I was just agreeing with the caller. The support provided and the rehabilitation in prisons is completely inadequate.
Mm-hmm. All right, my brother from the JDF, formerly of the JDF Forces. It's good to have you on the air here. Thanks a lot for participating. All right, we need to talk more in the future. All right, sir?
Okay, sir.
All right, cool. Let's take another quick one right here again. Hello, caller. How are you? Hello there. All right, let's move to the next call. Hello, caller.
Hello, Squeeze. How you doing, man?
Welcome, man. And we say plush. Peace, love, unity, strength, and harmony. Go ahead.
Thank you. I agree. I appreciate this moment. I was just wondering if like the type of change I think that Jamaica needs is to literally break it up, break up Jamaica, because we see what the effect that we get from the government itself on the entire island. And we can't but help but say this is the same effect from the police department. So I was just wondering if this is just my thinking, my scenario, that if the country already has 3 counties, and if you separate them and create separate governments, to be in charge of those counties, limit the police force so they don't have the entire country to deal with, if that would make any sense. I don't know. I'm just asking.
All right. Thanks a lot for your input, Dr. Gomes. Very interesting one there.
He's saying that you want to break up the police force and have county police.
Right.
That has some merit to it. How you reform? I mean, there are different models, and the American system provides some accountability by having many layers of overlap. So you have your city police and your county police, and that has its challenges, but it has, a certain extent, better local control of policing because it's right down at that level. The model that was suggested here, or that we've been suggesting, would retain a centrally controlled police force, because even things like jurisdiction become problematic. So, you drive into Spanish Town and you leave Kingston and you're in St. Catherine. Who's in charge? Or you're driving to a police chasing somebody and they go over into Manchester. Mm-hmm. Who is in charge? Which policeman? Can they follow you in? So there are jurisdictional issues that get messy. And we think that we are, considering that our population is the size of many counties in the United States,
True.
The entire island population, that it might be worthwhile to try this, but with devolved control. So that means that's what we understand community-based policing to be, that the power structure of the police force is on the ground, not in a central headquarters in Kingston or in an area headquarters somewhere. It's the local commander who knows the community, knows what the community needs, wants, works with the community to plan for problems and to prevent problems. That is the structure we want to see in place.
Absolutely. Dr. Gomes, we're just about out of time, but I'm going to let you give the final word or the last word for now on Link Up Radio as to what you expect of the diaspora. What are your plans, your projections in respect to what's going on with crime itself in Jamaica and in respect to the authorities that's actually handling it right now? So I'll let you have the floor for a few minutes and let you speak.
I really appreciate the opportunity, Squeeze. I really do, because I do honestly believe that the diaspora has a critical role to play beyond opening their wallets. And I think that their voices are powerful. They know abuse. They know what it looks like. They need to inform themselves, accept not for themselves what they wouldn't accept, for others what they wouldn't accept for themselves. Demand. We are fully capable of doing proper policing. Demand it. Demand it of your leaders when they come up. Ask them, what are they doing? Why are they not doing this? Don't look to give people a free hand. We have all learned the lesson of history that absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Don't believe, this the people's version of events. The people know what they saw and what happened. But demand that we implement a proper system and stop following fool errands round and round, repeating the same mistakes over and over again.
Okay. All right. Would you object to at least once a month having an open forum with us here on air?
Would love it.
Okay.
Give me a call. Very open to that. Really think that the diaspora has a lot to contribute in terms of knowledge and understanding.
Thank you so much, Dr. Carolyn Gomes of Jamaicans for Justice. It's a pleasure having you on Link Up Radio with yours truly and the family. Looking forward to speaking with you soon again.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. Dr. Carolyn Gomes. And